Welcome, everybody, to the Table Rush Talk Show, where we explore the intersection of entrepreneurship, marketing, and personal growth. I'm your host, Misha Zvagintsev, and today I have an incredible guest, Sigrid Garavito, founder of Serif X Digital Consulting. Sigrid has a wealth of experience in corporate marketing for major food brands, and now she's on a mission to help small businesses leverage corporate-level marketing strategies. In this episode, we break down the top 3 digital marketing essentials every small business should master, the biggest pitfalls to avoid, and how to compete with the big players. Get ready to take notes. This conversation is packed with actionable insights you don't want to miss. Sigrid, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, fantastic. And then say your name as it's meant to be said.
Sigrid Garavito. But I love it. It's fine.
Yeah, good. We were riffing. We both have unique names, and we were riffing before I hit record on how we're just glad that people make the attempt versus blowing it off or giving us wonky nicknames.
Yeah, no nicknames. It's fine.
And what's your nationality?
So I'm originally from Cali, Colombia, in South America.
Oh, wow. And
yeah,
is Sigrid or Sigrid?
No. Sigrid is a Scandinavian name. It means victory or beautiful victory, I believe. Yeah. And I got the name from my mom used to be a stewardess for Avianca Airlines. And she had a really good friend who I don't know exactly where she was from in Scandinavia, but her name was Sigrid. She fell in love with the name, so she gave it to me as her oldest. So that's how I came through. Sigrid.
And then the last name doesn't strike me as Colombian.
Garavito is Italian. My dad's side of the family, yes, he's from Colombia, just like me. My mom's from Bolivia. But my dad's family is got both Spanish and Italian and German heritage. So you make what you can from that. But yes, that's his mom was from German descent, and his I believe his father was from Italian descent. But we're basically all Mets at this point, which is fine.
Basically, yes, indeed. Well, I still now that I'm up to speed, because on your website you have this crazy picture. I think it's on your website where you're skiing and you're in the Alps or something like that. And it's an amazing picture. So with your name and your accent, I thought Germanic descent or European descent. And now I'm like, oh my gosh, I was way off this whole stinking time.
We're all coming from somewhere around there anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. Ultimately, we all originate from there. But I guess what I really was trying to get to, what are the wonkiest or the nicknames that you've been given where you're like, come on now, really?
Well, I've never been given a nickname because I've never allowed it to happen. So I don't want to even hint at what a nickname could have been that somebody wanted to give me, because I don't want anybody to get ideas, especially people that I know will probably be looking at this going, oh, no, I'm going to just.
We're going to let that lie, and we're going to skip it. And I tried hard to make it awkward right out of the gate. I've done an incredible job. So, but let's get right to it. So you used to do corporate marketing for big brands, and now you're empowering or helping small businesses, local businesses thrive with SEO essentials. I'm going to let you take it from here and tell me how you got from there to here, and then we'll talk about what you do and how you help them thrive. Go.
Yeah, in a nutshell, my career path has been pretty organic. I've been very fortunate to just find the right opportunities and open doors at the right times. And it honestly, I was going to go to law school. That was originally my intent coming out of college. And then through some sort of, just things happening, I just turned over to starting in marketing. And my experience, basically most of my core marketing experience has been on the food manufacturer side. I started in merchandising and consumer promotions, helping brands in those spaces. And then as consumer promotions dollars started dwindling away and brands were struggling to really make an impact with consumer promotions budgets, I started working very closely with the sales organization to really develop what were the right marketing programs to bring to the table to key retailers. So very much prioritizing retailers we needed to win at versus consumer promotions. And that kind of turned into a completely new industry that now is called shopper marketing or now commerce marketing. So I was one of many people that first kind of just got into the retailer space and working very much in partnership with those retailers to build marketing programs for brands. And because of that, I started building actually functions for manufacturers in terms of like, what is a shopper marketing function supposed to be? Who do we hire? What is the talent? What are the processes? So I became kind of like the person to do that as well. And at some point, this small company that now is huge called Amazon came to be. And because I had been working with retailers, a lot of people were like, well, this retailer Amazon, can you help us figure out how to work with them? And so that turned into yet another facet of my career, which became an e-commerce career as we know it now. And in the last, I would say 10 years, as retailers, brick and mortar retailers have realized the power of digital marketing and e-commerce in competition with an Amazon, they've developed their own e-commerce, as spheres. And so that shopper and e-commerce field kind of have combined. And that's basically what I've been doing for the last, I would say, 15 or so years, really working to help Fortune 500 brands understand specific retailers, how to attract and get purchases from shoppers at those retailers, building their strategies, etc. So how does that all turn into the local side? I just started helping some more smaller local businesses in the food marketing space, just as a side thing. And that eventually went very well. And then people were asking me like, hey, you helped me so much. Do you help people that are like not in food marketing? Like, could you help my friend who's an attorney? Could you help my friend who's a business coach, etc.? And I was like, sure. And so that's how my more local business, what was more of a side gig, kind of turned into an actual business. And yes, since then, I would say in the last couple of years, I've defined a bit more of what I was doing from a consulting standpoint and really learned from them, from local businesses, that one of their primary challenges to marketing in general was digital marketing. I started hearing the same things over and over again. And so from learning from them about what they were challenged with digital marketing, I formulated my agency, my consulting firm, to be someone that would help empower local businesses in understanding this space. But most importantly, there's so many things you can do in digital marketing and how to hone in on what are the must things you should know and do at some point in your business. And that's how my agency focuses on local search engine optimization, paid digital advertising on search or social media, and then social media management. Those three. Not to say that you can't do more, but if there was three things that every business should know they should be invested in and should get good at, are those three. And that's what I am doing now. And doing that is been very, very exciting for me, because it is really looking at taking all the great experience I've gotten from my corporate experience and leveling set that to a local business and educating them to be competitive in this space with the same strategies, just, more focus in the digital industry.
Amazing. 3 things small businesses should be invested in, at least these 3. There may be more, but tell
Correct.
me slowly what those 3 things were again.
So, so local search engine optimization. So making sure they're visible, their business is visible whenever somebody's searching online, right?
Okay.
And then 2 would be paid digital advertising. That could be on search engines or social media, where you can be more intentional in targeting the right customers or potential customers or clients for your business. And then 3rd, social media management, which is basically being in social media, what are the right platforms you should be, what sort of content strategy you should have in those to engage the right people. And as you probably know, just as well as me and others, is that social media platforms now, just in the recent 5-6 years, they've commercialized themselves because a lot of people, especially younger generations, are using social media as a search engine. And so not only as a search engine, but they're also purchasing services and products from these platforms. So that is why it's also so critical to be in that space from a local business perspective.
Awesome. And the three things: local SEO to make sure you're visible through organic traffic, paid digital advertising, whether that's search engines or YouTube or things like that. Social media management is number three. And then I like how you said, hey, those are transforming into actual shopping portals and
Right.
search
And
engines
search.
at the
Yep.
same time. Yep.
Correct.
So are is that the order you recommend too? And you don't need to dive into this too deep right now, but when someone comes to you, do you go, all right, let's dial in A, let's get your local SEO going. Great, perfect. Now we've got that momentum there. Perfect. Now let's dial in your paid digital advertising. Good, good, good. Now let's do social media management.
Mhm.
Or do you ask the client, what do you like best, or combination of both? Or yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I usually what I do again as a marketeer from many, many, many decades now, I ask basic questions to truly understand the business first and foremost, right? Like I want to make sure I understand the industry. What are their business goals? Where are they currently as part of, as a business? Are they starting up? Are they like kind of mature in their journey? What are their goals first and foremost? I also ask like what have they tried in marketing, not just digital marketing, but like what have they tried from a marketing mix perspective? What has worked? What hasn't worked? What did they find a success and why they don't? Right. And then depending on all those answers, yes, I could recommend all three. I could recommend like, hey, you're already doing a bit of SEO. Let's like look into it and see what's working, not working. So it really varies by client. But if someone was starting off, from scratch, you definitely want to start with being visible when people are searching for your business, which is really what happens first. People go on their phones and they search for either a very specific service or they put a problem that they want somebody to solve for, right? So obviously SEO is critically foundational. But yeah, the other pieces come into play depending on the organization and where they're currently at and where they want to go. So you can do all three and should be in all three at some point. But my recommendations will be customized to that business where they're at today and where they want to go.
Awesome. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
You said working with the big brands. I'm going to let you decide which direction to take us, and I'm going to give you two questions or topic ideas.
Sure.
Okay. Perfect. So you worked with these big brands and you've got to see the arc of the internet and internet marketing and online marketing, and I'm probably missing some terms. And I like the way you talked about how it's matured, but you've got to go through that arc.
Mhm.
And so I'm interested in the key things that you pulled from that time, or the things where you're like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, right? And then you also said the local business challenges, and you keep hearing these common problems when it comes to digital marketing, or
Yeah.
maybe it's just local business challenges over and above digital marketing too. But
Yeah.
those are kind of the two things right now that I'm really like, ooh,
Mhm.
you've got some knowledge and cool stuff to talk about there. So
Yeah.
I'll let you. Which would you prefer to talk about first, or go ahead?
Yeah. I mean, I definitely enjoy talking about the challenges, like the thematics that I've heard over time from, talking to local businesses, not just my clients, but just, I do a lot of networking across the entire Chicagoland area. And so there are these kind of like very much thematics of what local businesses kind of struggle when it comes to marketing in general, if not specifically digital marketing. And so I'm happy to share what those are for sure. Okay.
Hear it.
All right. So, I mean, number one, which we just kind of tapped a little bit on is just difficulty in ranking in local searches, right? That's a challenge for most businesses. A lot of it is, just lack of consistency and the naming from the business information. So like, what's their name? What's their phone number? What's their location? What services they provide? Are they providing these services at? Just almost sometimes basic information that is not consistent online that creates that lack of visibility in terms of ranking. And also just, people just wonder like, okay, how do I do that? Can I do some of those things myself? And the answer is yes, you can do a lot of those things yourself. And there's tips that I've provided for people to do things themselves, but it is one of those things that just comes up all the time. And I think it's just lack of understanding of the space as well as education of the things that they could immediately do and inevitably at some point bring in like either someone in-house or a partner to kind of help them in that area.
Oh, so you constant theme that you get or a thematic that you hear is,
Why
man,
I'm not
this,
showing up.
yeah, why am I not showing up? And so it sounds like people know at this point they need to show up.
They need to show up. They don't know why they're not showing up. So that's one challenge. Another challenge, which is very fair, is they have, limited budgets, limited marketing budgets, or at times they haven't really, put out a certain amount of money coming out of their revenue aside for marketing, not just digital marketing, just marketing, in general. And so I think that's a practice that more and more businesses are getting used to putting almost like a 401k, but it's for marketing, and you use it within a year, like putting aside a certain percent of your revenue for marketing purposes, of which digital marketing should definitely be part of that. That's been a challenge. And what I tell people is that the benefits of digital marketing is that especially for instance, paid media, because people do find sometimes paid media kind of expensive, or that they'll say those terms to me. And what I tell them in return is to say, you can certainly leverage paid media because paid media allows you to be extremely targeted. So think of it like you're going fishing on a lake, right? There's a lot of big companies out there that have a lot of lines out there, and you're going, I can't compete with that. Well, the thing is, you can with the right partner, with the right understanding. You just need to find that perfect fishing spot for you. You have to have the right bait, right? So it's not going to be the bait that they're using. They have lots of them out there. You're going to find the right bait. So what is your target audience, right? And then you got to also make sure you're constantly optimizing that bait. So you're constantly looking at, oh, this is resonating, this is not resonating, and just optimizing to get the right return on the investment you're making for that media. It's not that complicated to me. Obviously, for a local business, it could be, but at the very least, what I want people to understand is like, you're not going to compete in fishing in that huge lake, but you are going to try to use paid digital, for instance, as a digital asset to find that right fishing spot, to find that right bait to use, and then to get that right fish to get you, right? So it is one of those things that you absolutely can do with digital marketing, and you can certainly be competitive, at least in your market itself.
Awesome. You talked about the 3 pillars.
Mm-hmm.
You local SEO, page, digital advertising, and social media management. Previous conversations we've had, you said most local businesses don't understand what the 3 pillars do. Is that accurate?
Yeah. Yeah.
So why don't we break down
Yeah.
what the 3 pillars do?
Yeah, no problem. So from a local SEO perspective, I think there's a misconception that, it is a channel for lead generation, and it isn't. So I like to explain local SEO, or just SEO in general, as, a visibility builder, a trust builder, a credibility builder for your brand and your business. It certainly is going to help with your lead generation efforts, because at the end of the day, people have to first find you. So from that standpoint, it helps lead generation, but it's not a lead generation channel. It is really meant to, again, and I like using analogies like you are in, you want to be in that main street at your local Downers Grove or your local LaGrange, whatever that market is, versus in an alley, right? Like people are not going to find you in a physical alley, right? So that's what SEO does, is like making sure that you're visible where the traffic is coming the most. So that's one thing that I like to explain to businesses, and there are very specific measures of success for that type of channel that are not, you'll never see leads as part of what that would be as a measure of success for SEO investment. So that's one way I would explain that particular pillar.
Well, why don't we talk about? Well, I'm guessing that you have a measure of success for each pillar. We can talk about the measures of success after we
Sure.
go through the misconceptions. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Good. All right. Let's talk
Yeah.
about pillar 2.
Yeah. So paid digital media, and this again can be SEO, search engines, or it could be on social media platforms like Facebook, LinkedIn, you name it. They all have retail media now. I'm sorry, they all have paid media networks now. But basically, this is more of a lead generation channel. Absolutely. You can use it to drive awareness of your brand. So you're leading, creating an increased awareness in the market for your business, and you can lead people to your site or to other places to make sure that they learn more about who you are and what you do. But you can certainly, and a lot of people do use it primarily to find the right people, find the right clients prospectively, and then drive them to book a call or book a consultation, a service, or actually buy a product. So it is a more intentional channel, and it is very, very targeted. So you can get very, again, like the conversation we just had about the phishing, right? You can put a cap as to how much money you want to spend a month, and you can just look at like how your target audience is searching for your type of services. And one of the things that I tell people with paid media is that, big companies will look for very short keywords, things that are branded, not branded, things that make sense for them, and it can be very highly competitive. You're not going to do that. So if you're someone that is in the plumbing business in Des Plaines, Illinois, you may find, as you look at putting a campaign out there to drive prospective clients to your business, you may not look for plumber in Des Plaines, Illinois, because it may be highly competitive. But what you could do is say, look at what we call long tail keywords, which basically means phrases. So how do I fix my broken sink? Like those sort of keywords that a larger company may overlook or not care about. You could look at that and say, hey, there's low competition here. I could saturate this a bit more in my market. There's actually people that are actively looking and asking for these things. So yeah, that is one way that you can own that space and leverage paid media to do so. So that's, again, that was a little bit more intentional lead generation channel that you can certainly use for your business.
Love it. More intentional lead generation, generation channel.
Yes.
Yeah, that's great. I love that. I'm struck by the terminology. Thematic. I was like, oh, thematic. That's a great word. Like themes, the key
Yeah,
themes,
the
thematic.
things that I
So
always hear people. Yeah.
yeah, no, I love it. It's great. I think it shows your. I don't know what I would say. Your genius around what you do. You're like, look, it's a thematic. That's a great word. Like, yeah, that's what I help you do.
Yes.
Find the nuggets. So let's go. Pillar number 3: social media management.
Right. So social media, like I said, it's definitely most people understand it as a platform where people get a lot of great information and they're entertained. But if anybody that's been in any of these, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, it doesn't matter. If you look at just the last 5 years, is at least, it's like a lot of these platforms have realized that younger generations are using them to find information specifically to something, whether it's a service, a product, I want to get educated on this or whatever. Like, so they're being very intentional about not just coming in and seeing what's out there and being entertained, but they're like actually searching for things. So that is why it's so important to have social media in your marketing mix, because is a place where people are searching for your type of services and products for sure. The other piece on social media is that so it can be a more of an awareness and a community builder channel, but now you are able to buy media in these channels and be, again, kind of like paid media and search. You can be more intentional and target specific audiences with the right message to get them either aware of who you are in your business, but then also interested in learning more and perhaps having a consultation, booking time with you, booking an appointment, whatever that may be. One of the things that happens with social media is that people think like, oh my God, it's all about followers. And that's part of part of the miss when it comes to social media. Yes, you definitely want to have a lot of followers in your social accounts. But again, think about like the type of content that you are putting out there. How do you make it engaging? So it's not just about you. So we always tell people have a balance in your content strategy between the message itself. So definitely have things about, hey, this is my business. This is what I do. Come call me, book time with me, etc. But then also have a part of your content be around how do you want to help someone? What are the typical pain points they have with the types of business that you're in, or the things that you can solve as a business, and put it out there as like a real question from a client or a prospect and say, here's this challenge this person faced and here's how we fixed it. Provide tips for people, like advice for people to do some things themselves, not because you want them not to hire you, but because you want to provide them the power to learn enough to have a productive conversation with you to hire the right service provider, right? So those are the sort of things that we always tell people in social media. It's not just about putting a bunch of content out there. Really think about the content in terms of your audience. Think about a way that you can add value to their lives, both as an actual service provider, but also as someone in the community that just wants to help and give advice. And the last piece with this space that I would say is have fun with it. Like, you can put different types of content out there. It can be graphics, infographics. It could be photos. It could be videos now. Have fun with it. Mix it up so that people really see that you're putting the time and effort and really communicating a message to them that is of value, but it also resonates with what you do as a service, but then also as a brand, right? So those would be the three things that I would say from that space.
Yeah. Yeah. Good. Good. I'm thinking like we've gotten way into the technical side of things. Anybody
Yes.
listening is like, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like this techno babble to a certain extent, which is great. But I'm thinking of the small business in today's environment. We've just gone through the political cycle. There's perceptions of we're in a recession or we're not in a recession, and you own a small business, I own a small business that we're trying to grow and find success. And we were talking before we hit record here of the ups and downs of the journey, how literally one day we can feel like we're crushing it and we're going to conquer the world and everything's falling into place in the proper place.
Right.
Overnight, something can happen and we can feel like the wheels have come off and we've got to
Right.
sell everything and shutter the business. And I
Right.
think, I think, are you dealing with small businesses that are a little bit more established so they can handle the ups and downs, or they're thinking, man, I need to be more profitable, or like what's the tension point? Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. I think every one of my current clients are facing the ups and downs that everybody's feeling, with just the economy, the inflation. They want to get more business because they want to feel more stable. Even businesses that are stable are like thinking through like, okay, how do I become more productive so that I can like have more time going out and selling my services and less time doing like all these finances, all these operational things. So I think everybody, at least everybody that I've been working with and consulting with, is feeling the pinch from some place, even when they are getting an ongoing influx of sales, they're still going, wait, but I don't know how long this is going to continue. So how can I be proactive about what I need to be investing to make sure people know who I am, what I'm doing, and how I'm here to help, right? So I am working through a lot of like the same situations that we're feeling ourselves with different types of businesses that are in different stages of their business. But I think what I have seen that has been very validating through those conversations is that for the most part, a lot of us have a set of disciplines or habits that kind of help us through those tough days. Whenever, like, I actually just had a tough day a week ago, and I was like, man, I wasn't expecting that to happen. But then I had, developed these habits where I was like, okay, well, if that's going to go that way, then I know that the next days I need to do this every day. And I just keep building from there. And, it is, keep going. So I think talking to other entrepreneurs and other small business owners and hearing their own habits that they have to kind of, yes, you're going to go through the emotions. You're going to go through like, oh my God, maybe have a little bit of panic. And then it's like, okay, but what do I got to get done today that has continuously helped my business? And oh yes, this is a bump, but for every bump, there's probably 2 wins there. Like, so I can't stray away from my discipline or my habits because that is what's getting me this far. So I think that that's been extremely empowering for me to hear from people. And so I'm constantly building more processes and more habits to make sure I'm better prepared when those downs come back, which they are going to happen.
Yeah, I think we can all, with our small businesses, depending on how valuable a client is, we can become almost too dependent on a few clients
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah.
And so if one of them leaves, boy, that can be short-term pain.
Yes.
And so, having our marketing efforts, our lead gen efforts, all that in
Yes.
line so we can keep the pipeline full is so important.
Yes.
Uh, yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah. And I know that, I mean, it happens to me, especially, I mean, I'm sure it happens to everybody. As you get bigger, like the dream is to be like, oh my gosh, I have so many clients that, yeah, people
Right.
come and go, no big deal. Versus like,
Right.
oh, someone just left, or oh, well,
Yeah.
what do I get? I'll get like credit card declines. It's like, oh, declines. What? Like insufficient funds or
Right.
suspected fraud. I'm like, what? Like, I got
Yes.
to deal with that. Oh my
Yes.
God.
Yeah.
You
No,
know,
you're right.
go ahead.
You're right. No, you're right. And I think, I mean, again, like I've had at least three different circumstances this year alone where I was like, I mean, I did not expect it at all. I think I shared with you one that happened recently, and I was like, you know, terrible situation, but all right, what do I got to do to keep this moving? And what has been very helpful is having other local businesses or business owners or people like yourself to talk to and be like, here's why it happened. I don't want to be like insensitive, but then it's like, I got to I got to close that gap. Right. So, and it's been really validating to hear people go, oh yeah, that's not the worst that's going to happen. Look at this. And I'm like, oh, okay. Wow. Whew, okay. So, and then we share stories, we share like processes. And one of the things that I'm excited about is I'm going to be working as in an advisory board with this other business owner who's been very successful in business coaching. And, one of the things we're doing is kind of like sharing experiences. And it's been really, really empowering to hear like, oh my God, like, yeah, there are these things I know I have been meaning to do, but I haven't done that. Now I realize, oh my God, I have to get this done. And oh, by the way, she just showed me 3 different ways to do it really quickly. So I'm like, oh, it's not as time consuming as I thought. Okay, but I have to get it done because it'll make my day to day, much more streamlined. And so that's been really great to just be open to talking about your challenges with others, especially if they're in the same, you know, business owning, gamut. Like just share, because there's so much knowledge that is shared and wisdom that it also makes you feel good to just be like, okay, I'm not just in an island.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And everybody watching, listening, you can go to serapxx.com, serapxx.com. That's Sigrid's, that's your website where you can schedule a consultation, read more about what you do, follow along for the rest of our conversation here. But yes, everybody go to serapxx.com and you can see what Sigrid's up to. Well, previous conversations that we've had, because we've had a bunch of conversations, and we actually met on a
Network,
networking
yeah,
group. Yeah, what was that group again? Provisors.
advisors, yeah.
Provisors. Yes, we met on a provisors group and liked what each other were up to, and we've had some fun conversations and things that you had said, which I want to make sure to highlight, is you offhandedly would say things like, "Well, yeah, I'm helping bring corporate juice or corporate leverage, corporate power strategy, success marketing strategies to the common man." You would just float that, and I'd be like, "Oh my god, that's like incredible!" And you just would offhand say it, or you're like, "Yeah, do you want to access the power of the corporate marketing machine?"
Yeah.
And you talk about how you can help small local businesses do that. So with that frame in mind, tell me about the last customer that you brought on board. What were their pain points? How'd you meet them? And like, what are some successes that they're having now due to what you've helped them implement?
Sure. Yeah. So a lot of my clients so far have been people that I've met mostly through networking or referrals. So yeah, so I spend a lot of time networking locally, and yeah, I've had a lot of success with clients that they have referred me on to others. So an example of that was I actually met a woman who's launching. She wants to launch a social impact consulting firm in Chicago, and I met her through a network event. And even though the way we met was very much anchored around my agency, I realized that obviously she has yet to launch her brand, so there is, I can't help her from an SEO or any paid digital standpoint yet. But what I could do is bring, to your point, a lot of my years of experience marketing for Fortune 500 companies and kind of build with her a go-to-market strategy. So we are still in it. It's a process, but it's been a very exciting time because it gives me an opportunity to really take a lot of my experience and help someone really hone in and define, based on their mission, vision, and values, who is the right target to start with. Because, she can go a lot of different ways, but she has to be successful at one place first. So then she can then expand from there. So that's been really exciting. It's been an exciting project. I have also been able to help build the trust in the digital marketing space with a local attorney who has dived a little bit into SEO and paid digital. But again, just through true transparency of what each of these channels do, being able to provide him with metrics on a weekly, monthly basis, being able to speak to like what he's seeing in his dashboard, and collaborating with him. I built, and he said it, I built a trust with him over time to really understand the spaces and be able to feel more empowered about how we can collaborate together on what the right next strategy is for his business. So that's, he's gone from not being visible in specific practices in Chicago as well as Naperville to now he's on those first pages, which is great. And now we're trying to be a little bit more intentional with certain aspects of his business that we're testing out. So again, it's just I'm really enjoying working hand in hand with each of these business owners for the right solution for them. And again, to your point, like I have a lot of breadth of experience having worked with these big corporations and educating people that they can be competitive, just as competitive in their business and their local market as a Snickers bar or a Frito-Lay. I mean, there's a reason these brands are not only spending money on search with retailers, but they're spending millions of dollars on the same space and they're known brands. So if they're known brands and they're spending money on these spaces, why shouldn't you? And by the way, you don't have to spend millions of dollars. That would be nice, but no, you don't have to. You just use the power of digital marketing, which allows you to not only get the value for the specific thing that this, channel is going to do for you, whether it's visibility, whether it's clicks, whether it's impressions. But the other piece that I'm trying to educate businesses about is that digital marketing gives you so many insights into how your customer is acting, how they're searching, what they're clicking on, what resonates, what doesn't resonate. So the other part of the equation that I think is interesting is that you're paying for a service to do one thing, but you're also forgetting that that one thing includes insights. So you're learning about people and how they're acting and how they're behaving. And that by itself, I think is so valuable so that you can learn to be even more visible, more intentional online than you even thought before that other marketing efforts don't let you do. So anyway, I think that it's been really exciting for me. So I'm continuing to just empower local business to learn about this space and be able to have really great conversations as we continue to grow them over time.
Yeah, I'd love that. Let's talk about the go-to-market strategy with your person that wants to create what type of consultancy did you say?
She's building a consulting firm around social impact.
Great. And so she's obviously said, hey, I want to hire you to help me do this. And then I'm betting I've heard you say this a few times, metrics based or checkpoint based or
Right.
like, hey, we execute this and then this is the result we want to have. And then we execute this and this is the result we want to have. So walk me through your go-to-market strategy with this person. It was like, all right, let's refine your avatar or your customer. And so I heard you say that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, go.
No, so basically there's usually for a go-to-market strategy, there's usually 4 to 5 phases. It depends on the business, but basically you start with like understanding like what is their business? What do they want their business to be? What is their mission, vision, values? What do they want their brand to stand for? Who do they want to target? And so that's part of like the first phase. And I take that information, I really just kind of start niching down. Like, yeah, obviously as an agency, regardless of whether you're in media or whatever, like you can target many industries, many sectors within those industries, et cetera. So really important, especially for somebody starting from scratch, to really define what industry you want to be. Like you can definitely have, an impact on how you influence how people understand what social impact is. How do you have diversity, inclusion, and equality into your story and messages? But you could do that in any industry, right? So how do we hone in into what she is particularly passionate about? And so that took, a couple of sessions to get to, where we did research together and we figure out, okay, based on her passion, but also what makes the most sense at this time, we were able to narrow down her audience and her target audience to be media agencies, but not just any media agency, right? Like we're not going for a Publicis or an Omnicom. We're looking at really small to mid-size agencies, $5 to $50 million in revenue. So we got really, really deep into that area. And again, it's a matter of like listening to where she wants to go, what she wants her brand to stand for, what is her services going to be, but then also like, okay, who are we going to be talking to? Who makes the most sense where you can make an impact right away and not spread yourself too wide, right? And so that's where we are right now. But the next phase will be looking at like what we've defined as her audience, and then moving on to like figuring out like, okay, what is your content strategy? What is your message going to be? What are your offerings going to be? And inevitably that's going to lead to the end part of the market strategy, which will be like, what is your actual tactical marketing strategy? How are you going to communicate this amazing brand, this amazing services to this amazing target audience? Where are you going to go? What are you going to say?
The word that comes to my mind when I hear you say this, and I'm imagining what this woman is who you work with. Can you say her name, or is that
Oh, sure. I could. Her name's Tamara.
Tamara? So I'm imagining Tamara is probably feeling incredibly empowered at this point, and probably went from being frustrated and maybe even a bit confused and wondering on what next steps. Maybe not. Maybe she was like, "Oh no, complete vision right out of the gate." But to go to dial in your target market like that for somebody for Tamara, I mean, that's incredibly empowering. Is
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, she has this amazing vision for her business, and I mean, I've learned so much about what she does for a living, has been doing for a living. Now she's doing it on her own. She used to work in corporate doing these things, and now she's building her own business. So I've learned a lot from her, and yeah, she's got this amazing vision, and it took. I usually say that discovery session for go-to-market strategies take the longest because you do have this very aspirational vision for your business, and it doesn't have to change. It's just that when you first start off, you have to absolutely niche down so that you can really know what to say in 30 seconds to a person, to also in a social post, to a media campaign, to your website, and also define those actual like services, right, to that specific audience. And that's not to say that tomorrow, if she wanted to expand and work for non-for-profits, for instance, which was an area of interest of her, that she couldn't do that. But she can use the success and her reputation that she's built, the credibility she's built in this particular space to then say, yeah, I'm absolutely happy to be able to help you in the not-for-profit world. Like, and then she can do the same similar exercise, but then hone in what the non-for-profit target audience will look like. But she has to start somewhere. She can't start across the board because then, she probably wouldn't be successful. And I do know that she appreciated the multiple steps we went to get there, and also the back and forth, because we did go back and forth. She was like, hey, what about this? And I'm like, that's great. Now niche it down. What are the specific industries? It's like, oh crap. And then I would do some research for her. I'd be like, what about this? And she'd be like, I don't know. So, I mean, it was like I said, the discovery session of a go-to-market strategy to me is very fun because I learn a lot about the person. I learn a lot about their business and what they wanted to be. But they also learn from me, like, how do we structure this in a way that it is very clear where you're going, who you're talking to, what you're going to say, what you're going to offer, so you can be successful. And then from there, you can expand from, to whatever you want.
And yeah, I love that. And I think it's cool because once you learn the process on how to do it, so for her, she goes, hey, I want to work with small to mid-sized agencies, blah, 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 blah. Now she's got that language down. She can speak to the pain points. She can speak to the frustrations of that audience. Once she
Right.
gets that dialed in, then you can just, like you said, expand it to
Right.
nonprofits. Now you just tweak the language
Yeah.
for the
Yeah.
nonprofits, and then you can tweak the language for the next
Right.
avatar. So go to market strategies, you were doing this for big Fortune 500 brands. If I'm reading this right, that's
Yep.
what you used to do for the big companies, is they would create a product and you're like, all right, let's dial in the go to market strategy for this product. And now you're saying, I'm going to help you,
And
small
now it's even
company,
more
do
niche down because I had to be like, all right, we're going to go talk to Walmart. So it was I took everything that was done up until that level. And then I would say, okay, now we got to change our messaging or adapt our messaging for the Walmart shopper for this particular category and brand. So all the niching down has been like somewhat forced upon me just because of the nature of what I've been doing in marketing. But you're right. It's like taking all of that work and even bringing it even further into the right, shopper mindset at a specific retailer or retail channel. Like, are we talking to mass versus drug? People go to drugstores for really different reasons that they go to a Walmart, right? So all that fine tuning, it's been part of my core in marketing for ages, it feels like, but I'm enjoying it so much more now with local businesses. And another thing that I do that I normally do as part of my consulting, and it's free, is like I will still, even though my agency is very focused on these specific pillars, and as a digital marketing agency, obviously, I do a kind of like high level marketing assessment of the business, and I do provide like a high level recommendation of what their marketing mix should be. That is not to say that everything's digital. There's things in there like with some clients that I've said, hey, for your business, you should definitely consider email marketing. It's something that you have a database, very robust database. You're not doing anything with it. Might be an opportunity. And I give them a little bit of a sense of like what they could do. I don't do that, but I obviously know people that can do that if they wanted to do that. I do make recommendations, again, just overarching, like what is your marketing mix in terms of driving awareness to your business, obviously engaging with the right audience, and then obviously acquiring new clients. So I do the whole gamut, and then I give them recommendations at a high level of what those strategies should be, along with, of course, what the digital strategies are that we can support them on.
That's amazing. I just want to appreciate the fact, and again, everybody can go to serapphx.com, serapphx.com, and see Sigrid's amazingness. Reflect on the fact that you've done these go-to-market strategies, all the things that you just said for massive brands. You saw the rise of Amazon. Like,
Yes.
you have been in the mix and really seen quite a lot. And
more than I care to know. But yes.
Yeah. Well, and it's really cool that you're like, hey, living that corporate life was not for me, or I wasn't thriving in there anymore, or whatever. Some people love it, some people don't. But the fact that you can, again, bring that incredible knowledge, history, experience down to the common man. I don't want to call it
Local business,
entrepreneurs,
yeah.
common,
Yeah.
to local businesses. I
Yeah.
think that's amazing. Let's talk about your lawyer really quick, because I think I heard you say some things in there where I think in effect you said, "Hey, we kind of have his SEO dialed in, and now we're ready for the next step."
Mhm.
In effect, my words, not yours, but
Sure.
tell me about your lawyer journey, or what's he excited about right now. And I also heard you say something else. You said, "Yeah, I had him look at the dashboard." So
Yeah.
tell me what's going on. Yeah, go.
So one of the challenges out of just local business, against to the word thematics that has come to my conversations over the years, has been the just measuring return of an investment on digital marketing, and not just SEO, just digital marketing in general. And that comes from primarily setting the right expectations. I think we talked a little bit about that, setting the right expectations of what each channel will do and will not do. So I've actually spent, I think I did one guest appearance at a network event where I talked about what SEO is and isn't, because that is one of the challenges businesses have, is understanding kind of measuring. And it is, part of it is the lack of alignment between what the channel does and the expectation. And so I built my consulting agency making sure that transparency was there. And part of that transparency is not only getting monthly and weekly reports, but making sure that also there's a custom dashboard that every one of my clients have, that at any time, 24/7. They want to look things up in terms of progress, and they can see right away not only how things are happening in this space, whether it's SEO, paid, whatever, but also they're able to see the tasks that we are doing on a weekly basis. So they want to understand, like, what the hell are you guys doing all week? You can see what we're doing. And whether you care to understand it or not, you can go deeper. But, that transparency is important to me. And along with that comes educating people about translating what does a click and an impression translate to a call and a booking, right? Like, I think spending quality time with your clients to explain some of that is very important. And it, again, is about building that trust with not only the client, but building that trust in the space. I want my clients to come working with me and my team. I want them to feel like I always know what I'm getting for where I invested. I always can see what's happening, not happening. I can ask questions and say, why is this? What does this mean? And I'll get an answer. I feel now that I understand more what this channel does and what this means to my business than I did, 10 days ago, a month ago, whatever that may be. That is part of what is happening with my clients. And I bring my attorney, one of my attorneys as an example, because he had horrible experiences with agencies in the past. I have not been the first one, and hopefully I'll be his last one. But he was very open about how unhappy he was with his previous agencies. And, it took a while for me to build that rapport with him to not only hire me, but also work through a lot of these different components that we're working with him on. And he and I have a weekly call, and that's what he wants to. He feels that we can collaborate on things, and I am totally fine with that. So it is about building that trust one-on-one with the client, giving that transparency on the metrics, setting the right expectations for what they're going to get for each service, and then just providing that regular cadence of reporting and education. I think is what's kind of made this so successful, this relationship so successful. And I'm also looking for feedback. I'm not perfect. So having these kind of conversations very much helps me understand, like, ooh, there's a new thematic, or, oh, I need to adapt in the way I report. Analogies has been a big part of my feedback. Like, how do I bring this very techie world into very simple understanding of like what it is and what it isn't? So I'm learning every day from my clients dynamics. And I don't know that I would have learned as much having worked in corporate about these nuances and how to explain these things better if it wasn't for the clients that I have and the people I've been talking to. So I'm excited.
Amazing. You have some checklists for what people can do themselves for those who are not ready to hire an agency.
Yep.
So in 3 minutes or less, run me through the SEO 101 checklist.
Yeah, so this checklist is just a few steps that you can take yourself to make sure you're improving your ranking on search engines. These are things that you can certainly, do yourself. And so I'm just providing them as tips to help you get started on your SEO journey.
Amazing. So give me some of the tips. Like, you've got 3 minutes to go, like, here's what the checklist says.
Yeah.
Or in effect, right?
So definitely
give
make
someone
sure.
a nugget.
Yeah. The nugget is make sure you have a Google My Business profile. If you don't have one, create one. Make sure you have a Google Analytics account. And then make sure that what you call your name, address, and phone number is consistent in every page of your website, as well as in every listing that you're in on search engines.
Cool. And that's GMB, Google My Business. That's what you said, right?
Yes.
The Google
My
Business
Business.
account?
Yeah, it's profile. Yes.
Amazing. Perfect. And then you've got a paid media 101 checklist. Do the same thing for me. Give me the key takeaways.
Well, the first one is make sure you have a Google Ads account. If you don't have one, open one up and then play with it. Make sure you go in there and you find what is your service, do some keyword searching, and make sure you're looking at it and targeting, playing with the target audiences that you want to attract. So that's one quick way to say that. Sorry, I feel like I'm in like a snap.
You are. Pressure's on. Super fun. So Um, in regards to the paid media 101 checklist, you said, hey, open a Google Ads account, do some keyword research, play with it,
Yeah.
play with some target audiences. So I'm hearing you say, like, get in there, have some fun,
Yes.
maybe be willing to spend, a couple $100 a month or something
Yep.
just playing around, start to
Yes.
learn it.
Yes, absolutely. Play with it, get familiar with it because again, it is a very highly targeted tool. So as long as you open the account and you start kind of playing with it, making sure like, hey, here's my demographic, here's like my market, here's the type of keywords I want people to search, you'll start seeing it populate automatically all the different options and then test it out. But definitely, if you have questions, we're here to help.
Yeah, amazing. And again, everybody can go to SERAPHX.com, schedule a consultation with Sigrid and see all the fun stuff you do. Say the name of your company for me because I think I've been butchering it.
That's okay. It's SerifX,
S-
serifx.com.
Cool.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, good, good, good. So the social media management 101 checklist, what are the key nuggets that are in there?
The key nuggets in there, I'm sure everybody has the social media. Make sure you create one for your business. I know people a lot of times have used their profile, their individual personal profiles as promoting their business. That's great, but you need a separate one in order to take advantage of all the analytics that every one of those social platforms provides. So create a business one. Make sure you encourage your followers, your family, your friends to like that page and then make sure that you're putting content out there, regular content that is around your business, but also tips and advice to your audience based on your service or product. They want to see both. Build that community and make sure you're answering their questions or their, even their comments. Make sure you're engaging with them on a regular basis.
Cool. I was under the impression I have yet to spend a dime on paid ads or paid media. I look forward to doing it at some point. I think it's fun. I've been posting a bunch of reels recently,
Yeah.
and what's fun is to see the one that kind of takes off relative to the others. And
Yeah.
so I'm like, oh man, I could design an ad off of this reel, or I could
Yes.
promote this reel and throw a call to action on it or something
Yeah.
like that, right? Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Take the
Yeah.
ones that are the most engaging. And there's nothing that says you can't repurpose that same content in another social platform just by tweaking it to that audience and that platform. Absolutely. It's one of those things like people get hung up on like, oh my God, I've used this before. Well, nobody's gonna remember what you did 6 months ago. And if it was really resonating, why not put it out there again? It may be heard by someone else that didn't hear it the last time or saw it the last time, or they may be referring and sharing that somewhere else. So definitely look at leveraging what it is working, keep doing it.
Yeah, great. And my understanding, and again, I'm ignorant to it, but the understanding is on Facebook now you can make your personal account a certain type. So now you can start running ads from your personal account where you used to have to run it from your business account. Is that true?
So as far as right now, we are recommending for businesses to have their own business account and run ads from their own business accounts. And the reason for that is because you want to make sure you're keeping the analytics separate. You're able to see you're able to separate the two and are able to track accordingly what's working and not working from each one. Obviously, like we haven't dived it too much into like leveraging someone's personal Facebook account for advertising because we really are honing in on the business. And again, these are relatively new features that are being, provided by these platforms. So we want to give them a chance to kind of go up, be in the market for a bit before we really like start utilizing them for our businesses. So for our sake right now, we're just recommending working off of your business social platform or account and then putting paid media out of that one first. But again, that's the reason digital is fun for us. It's like there's constantly evolving, they're constantly, creating new features. So we definitely want to implement them, but we also want to give them time to see if they're working the way they're supposed to. Are they giving us the right insights? Are they muddying the waters a bit? So we kind of wait a little bit before we take on a new feature unless it's something that's very clear cut.
Great. Great insight. Thank you for that.
Yeah,
And I love what you said about analytics too. You're keeping the analytics clean. You're keeping the analytics clean. And I think I love data. So I love the idea of the numbers and what's working or not. And so
right.
the cleaner that data is, the better.
Yes,
But just a lot of people maybe don't understand the power of data and the analytics. So what's working, so you
right,
can see the feedback, and then you can start tweaking your marketing or your ads
right,
or your headlines or this or
correct.
that per the data, and do better and get a bigger
Yeah,
return on investment.
yeah. And that's actually
Yeah.
why, I don't know if I said this before, but I know it's a bit technical, but I would say one recommendation I would give local business owners, whether they're doing it themselves or with a partner, when it comes to SEO, they should not run an SEO campaign for less than 6 months if they've never done anything before or they have been inconsistent with it, because that's truly the length of time it will take for you to see the progress based on what SEO does, right? The same thing with paid digital media. I would not recommend anybody running a campaign for less than 3 to 4 months because, remember, you can adjust the ad spend however you want, but like you should not run it for less than that amount because it just, again, you're working in in a technological platform that is literally taking information from you and learning from you and then learning from how people are searching for your product or service and then kind of trying to correlate the two so that they match and they're happy together, right? But it takes time. And people, I follow Neil Patel a lot. I love him. He's so awesome. And he is a very well-known digital marketer, as people in our industry would know. But basically, like he says it all the time that people give up too quickly on digital marketing efforts. And that's so sad to see because it is not just about what it can do in that immediate moment, but it's also like the type of insights and the data that you get is something that you're paying for. So you should take the time to get all of that information. So we recommend no paid digital media to be done for less than 3 to 4 months and definitely no less than 6 months for an SEO effort to truly measure the success of that effort or that investment. So I'll leave you with that.
Great tips, great insight. I mean, again, you worked for the biggest brands doing go-to-market campaigns. You've been through the arc of in
I'm
effect the
dating myself.
creation. I know, I know,
So,
no, yeah.
yes.
I
Woo.
Oh my gosh, I don't. Yeah, I was telemarketing back in the '90s. I mean, come on now.
I know. Just me saying like, hey, there's this retailer called Amazon. Can you help us with that? I'm like, I
Oh
remember when
my gosh,
Amazon was just a bookstore
right?
for books.
Holy mackerel! Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, that's incredible. Another great little quote you had said somewhere along the way was, and this is speaking to the time we need to give to let a campaign work and develop.
Yep.
And I think if we go into it with our expectations set, boy, the payoff, then we can be there for the payoff at the end. If we don't budget it out, if we don't plan, if we aren't
Right.
willing to make the tweaks, learn from
Right.
the data, have it suck for a while until we start to get some positive
Right.
results, then we're going to miss it. But if we can go into that
Yes.
expectations in line, and then of course, if it's budgeted, all the better. So then we can do it again. But
Right.
you had said something about, hey, results are measurable. Here's what you can expect. Here's how long it will take till you have a return on investment and ROI. And you were just speaking all that. But you had said something along the way in previous conversations. You don't have to be in a Ferrari to have success, but you
Right.
can leverage the same principles.
Yes. These are all the same principles that big companies, big, large multi-million-dollar companies are using. They just have more resources and they have more money to do it. But like I said, like if a brand like a Snickers bar or like even like a Miller Coors is investing millions of dollars on search on a retailer site as well as outside, search engine, you know, that just goes to tell you, you as a local business should be there as well. Now you don't have to spend, like I said, Ferrari dollars. That's the great thing about digital marketing. You can really saturate a local market with your services if you just are investing in the right platforms and you are doing it consistently, right? I'm not going to be one to, like, even in paid media or social media, I'm not going to be the one that's going to be like, oh, you have to be on all. I mean, I have a client right now that they're in the HR business, benefits business. And based on who their target audience is, I think that while it's nice that they have a Facebook page, they definitely need to be more engaged in LinkedIn, because that's where the HR directors, the head of HR, all of these different decision makers for their type of business are really more engaged in looking for information and advice. So again, there's just so many things you can do with digital marketing. You can be very targeted and you do not have to spend Ferrari money for it. Now that you can, but you can definitely scale. That's what digital marketing allows you to do. It allows you to scale from where you are today, where you want to go, and you can do it over time, but you have to let them, they have to let it work. You have to give it the time that it needs. So you're not only getting the traffic, the clicks, the impression, the organic, ranking, but you're also getting the behind the scenes, all the data about how people are looking for you. When are they looking for you? What day part? Is it in the morning? Is it on a Sunday? Like, you have to give it time. If you don't give it time, then you're losing on half of your investment right there, because the insights are a huge part of it.
Amazing. I know I want to scale. I love the idea of scaling. I love the way you said we can saturate the market. We can
Yes.
saturate the local market if we're tactical about it or
Yes.
strategic
Yeah.
about it. And it doesn't need to be across all the platforms. It's finding the right platform to
Right.
target that's where your people are, and then just saturate the local market.
Yeah. Yeah.
So powerful.
Absolutely.
I love that vision. Thank you for that. And then scaling, you got me so excited. Like, yeah, give it time to work, dial it in,
Yep.
set your budget, and then when it starts working, like, that's the exciting part, right? When it
Right.
starts working, then it's and your ROI and you have a positive payoff, then you can just throw more money at the machine and have a
Right. Right.
right?
Well, you're throwing money at the machine, but you're also like, if you're getting the traction, you're getting the bookings, you're getting the clients, that revenue is coming in, and you're putting some of that aside, right, for marketing purposes, and some of that is going to go into those channels that are working. There are channels out there that are not digital marketing that for some of my clients are working great, and I'm not going to say don't do that. I'm like, oh, keep doing it. If it's working, do it. So yeah, no, absolutely. I think that there's just such a power in marketing in general. It is a tool. There's so many tools in a toolkit, and just having, people like other local business owners or agents like me to kind of be able to help a business kind of understand which one to start, which one to scale up to. I think is very powerful. And the more they understand the space, and this is why we're doing this, the more they understand the space, the more, empowered you should feel to kind of come to someone like me or someone else and say, here's what I'm looking for. Here's what I'm used to getting for this type of service. And these are the things I want to see. And you have a productive conversation and get to an alignment and grow together.
I love it. And when I say throw money at the machine, I mean it in a good way. I mean,
Right,
you've
right.
mastered the machine. Yeah, throw the money at it because the machine is giving you a lot more back.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. Absolutely.
Yes, yes. So Sigrid, uh, you bring so much to the table. Just
Thank
your
you.
experience again. I'm going to date you, but
Yeah,
it's
it's
in a
okay.
good way because I mean the knowledge, the breadth of knowledge, the experience, what you're able to bring that the big money, the big corporations, the big brands are doing, and you're able to say, here's exactly what they're doing. And
Yeah.
you want to create a go-to-market strategy? Here's what they do. Here's how we're going to do it. You want to develop an effective marketing campaign? Here's what they do. Here's how we're going to do it. And
Hmm.
that just is incredible. Like anybody should be listening, watching, should be frothing and yeah, going to serapphx.com and clicking schedule a consultation, which is on the upper right of the website, by the way. Yeah, amazing, 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 amazing. I think you've given us a good vision of what of just exciting. Like I'm excited right now. I'm like, oh, I wanna go do the stuff you were just talking about.
That's
But we
awesome.
are yes, we are running up against
Yeah.
the time wall. And I think this is a great place to stop, but I do
Okay.
want to give you a few seconds if there's anything you're like, oh, I wished I'd have said, or I wanted to say, or make sure you covered. Fire away.
Yeah. No, more than anything, thank you so much, Misha, for having me here. I'm so excited to continue to share what I know with anybody that thinks that it will be of value. SerifX was built primarily to just empower local businesses to understand the digital space and to know where to start and how to scale and grow their business online. So I do free consultations and happy to connect with anybody who needs help. But thank you so much for the audience. Thank you so much for the time. I'm so excited.
Amazing. This has been a ton of fun. I'm going to hit stop and we'll say goodbye offline. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Table Rush Talk Show. For resources to help you sell your stuff, go to belove.media/resources. That's belove.media/resources. And be sure to subscribe, comment, 5-star, and share. Thank you again for listening.